Hey folks, welcome back to Progressive Politics.
Serious topic. Oklahoma authorities found multiple human remains on a compound with links to a violent white supremacist gang. Reporting on this discovery led to a rural vortex where people have been vanishing, and their families too terrified to hang up missing person signs. This is fucking crazy. Also, not necessarily surprising. We know that white supremacy is one of the greatest threats that America, that we face in this nation, is just one of many disturbing things that is coming out of the ultra right.
Yeah, I mean this story was wild. I mean, I think they feel like they might have found up to a dozen different remains. What was weird to me about this article was just how the sheriff sounded surprised. The idea that we have highly active white supremacist gangs in Oklahoma is stuff I've been hearing ever since I started doing work around criminal justice reform. It's like the idea that law enforcement is just like, well, we just had no idea.
What the fuck is this? I don't know.
It was weird. It was weird. It was a weird take by law enforcement to just be like, we had no idea. The new polling that was released about the state superintendent's race and the governor's race, this polling was put out by Sooner Poll. And what they're saying is they've got Gina Nelson up 5 points on Ryan Walters statewide, and they have Joy Hoffmeister within 1.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Gina has a real shot in November. I think it's absolutely important to note that Ryan Walters absolutely sucks ass. So anybody else would be absolutely better. But Gina's an actually good teacher.
I mean, Ryan's secretary account, he's Stitt's appointed Secretary of Education, has gone dark since August 31st, so it's been 2.5 weeks now. So I think that's like a interesting sign that even if this poll maybe isn't 100% accurate, that maybe they're getting internal polling or other indicators from across the state that maybe he's gone too far.
Why are you running? Why are you
Mentioned that the same pollster had Joy Hoffmeister within 1 point on the governor's race. Drew Edmondson came within 12, I think, last time. It needs to be nervous.
The biggest thing that I'm really worried about in this election is going to be turnout on our side of the aisle.
When you think about Oklahoma being 50th for voter turnout, if the organic, just likely voters, the people who always show up at these elections, are already this split, if some new people show up, if you're sick of the way things are, and, so are the people who show up all the time, if some new folks come in, I mean, that can really move the needle quickly. The polling's kind of trending the right way, and it's looking like we could see some real change and get like some non-corrupt, rational leaders in office. But you gotta show up. GOP chair for the Republican Party, and he tweeted the poll results and said 4 years ago this week, Sooner Poll said Governor Stitt was up 1 point as well. He went on to get more votes than anyone in state history. That's not entirely true. He did go on to win for sure, but he actually got less votes than most of the other people on the ballot that year. And his race was one of the closest. Kevin Stitt's always had pretty soft numbers, so that just, again, makes it seem like if people really are sick of his corruption and, ridiculousness on the national stage, they have a real shot at being able to get him out.
President Biden avoids a nationwide railroad strike. Now, while Oklahoma seems to be disconnected from a lot of federal politics, that's always because we're trying to catch up. This is huge. This is a big thing, especially for the labor community. The president is calling it a win for America. I think that we could all obviously do a little bit better with how much we're going to be paying these folks.
Politically, it's probably somewhat better that the federal government finds a way to sort this out instead of resorting to a strike. So hopefully they get what they want. But we also need to have a real conversation about corporations and what they're doing. So our next thing is Stitt's first top 10 news propaganda channel dropped. So a couple things here. First off, we did reopen first, and Oklahoma had the 4th highest death rate due to COVID in the nation. even though we were hit way later, because like the ones that were 1 and 2 were on the East Coast and got hit very early before we had any precautions or before anything shut down. Second of all, unemployment is just one factor. Like forcing everyone back into the mines of capitalism is just one thing. We also had extremely slow economic growth. I think we were like 43rd in the last year for GDP growth. This argument that like pushing everyone back out, getting a low unemployment rate helped us is false. Take on it.
Propaganda. Let's talk about abortion. We here over at Oklahoma Progress Now have been calling this out for a long time, that the Attorney General's office and hopefully not the District Attorney's office would be prosecuting abortions here in the state of Oklahoma. But on top of this, the state wants to also criminalize individuals who want to help others get an abortion outside of the state of Oklahoma. Honestly, the only way that I see us successfully combating this is by taking over the district attorney's offices across the state on the local level and having them refuse to prosecute abortion. I'm just going to go ahead and read this quote from Rabia Muqaddam. To be frank, applying a state law to criminalize helping someone get out of state to get an abortion would be pretty unhinged under the traditional understanding of how criminal law functions.
John O'Connor's quote. So, this reproductive rights organization is saying, like this is gonna, criminalize people to help. But O'Connor says none of our laws, civil or criminal, punish the mother in connection with an abortion. I mean, of course, like forcing someone to give birth, I think, could be a form of punishment. I mean, you're having incredible power over their lives. So that's one aspect. But also, O'Connor's not being accurate. Frontier did an article that said Oklahoma is prosecuting pregnant women for using medical marijuana. Failure to protect laws, obviously using medical marijuana, perhaps during pregnancy. Like, we already have laws sort of relating to reproductive health where we target mothers. The other issue is that by prosecuting doctors, like what you're doing is forcing doctors now to like second guess their medical training and give medical advice on the basis of whether or not they might get prosecuted. That is incredibly dangerous. I mean, if you have certain conditions in your body that make a pregnancy you might currently be having more dangerous, it goes against medical training, it goes against science, and it really goes against morality. Like, we should not be using laws in this way because there are so many unintended consequences.
And O'Connor's also saying in local guidance to prosecutors to be very careful about infringing on free speech. Like performing advocacy around these issues can be possibly considered as aiding and abetting abortion. He's like, be careful about that because this is a really big slippery slope.
I think the faster we can figure out how to overturn these laws, the better, because like every day that we go on, tons of people aren't getting the reproductive health care they need, and tons of people are risking prosecution now.
We could try and codify protections for reproductive justice through the methods of some form of a state question. Run it as something that's like a big omnibus transformative healthcare action, right? Call it like the right to healthcare, expand like sooner care, and then also put these other health issues and like as a part of this, and then put it in your constitution. Thanks for joining us this week on Progressive Politics. If you enjoyed what you watched, please go ahead, like, subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, so please continue to follow along with us here at Oklahoma Progress Now. Thanks so much. See ya.
She's going too fast. What was I saying? Hey, y'all. That's it.
Fuck.
Doctor, fuck. What are they gonna be like? Hold it till you get home. Fuck you.